I was sure that she would understand. Okay, here we go. Her name is... Okay, guys. Here's a part that I'm going to save at. Save. And... since I told you guys this is supposed to be like a murderous game, I'm going to show you what I saw in the trailer for the game. So you have these three choices, and I know which one's the correct one, but I'm going to show you what happens if you choose the wrong one. Mimi. ... Judging from the awkward silence, it was clear that I had gotten it wrong. I suddenly felt like a real jerk for getting her hopes up. She seemed like such a nice girl, too. ... I better hurry up and apologize to her. I'd hate to ruin the chance for us to become friends by getting off on the wrong foot. Gurk. Crash. What the... Before I knew what happened, I was lying on the floor in a pool of my own blood. I tried to move, but I was completely immobilized. Partly due to the immense pain in my chest, and partly due to the weight of the assailant sitting on top of me. You're horrible, Tristan. Ugh. I'm hated now. Dang it. Oh, she's got a pear or something in her hands. Something sharp, like a dagger. That soft-spoken girl who looked like she couldn't harm a fly was suddenly sitting on top of me with a pair of blood-soaked scissors grasped firmly in her hands. With my consciousness fading, it took me a moment to fully comprehend what had happened. Apparently, she had reached into her school bag, pulled out a pair of scissors, and stabbed me once in the chest. Then, when I collapsed on the floor, she climbed on top of me and continued the assault. But why? It didn't make any sense. One moment I was trying to remember her name, and the next moment You've gotta be kidding me. How could you forget? How could you? It's too cruel. Tristan! Yeah. Ow. Weird. No, crap. Cruel. 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 Stab. 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 Pant, pant, pant! After what seemed like an eternity, the girl finally stopped her assault. She's got that, like, unworried look on her face. And she's got soaked in blood, for crying out loud. Panting heavily, she continued to stare at me with doll-like eyes. Too bad. And I was looking forward to walking home with you, Tristan. Speaking in a vacant tone, she slowly rose to her feet and dropped the bloody scissors by my side. And then she turned around and walked away. Trying to make a laugh there. I'm not good at it. I was laughing, not because I was going mad in my final moments, but because, in the end, I managed to learn her name. Ugh. My vision was fading, but because it was right beside me, I could just narrowly make it out. Attached to the handle of the scissors was a label. It read, "Property of me, Bad N." Dun dun dun. Game over. And when you get a bad N, the game automatically goes to the title screen, and if you are an unlucky person that did not save, then you have to redo the entire storyline all the way back to the part you had done. And that's why I saved. So, Smart Tristan wins. Now, the correct answer is this. Mia. Mia. ... Judging from the awkward silence, it was clear that I had gotten it wrong. Tristan! Oh. Ah! Before I knew what happened, she had leapt into my arms and was burying her face into my chest. I knew you would never forget me. You would never do something so mean. This is wonderful. It's finally happening. This isn't a dream. I can feel you. This is not... This is weird. I'm just saying. Your body's... I just want to laugh so hard when I read that. You're actually here. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, Tristan. Yeah. What's up with this girl? One utterance of her name and she was over me. Not that I was complaining or anything. It's not every day that a cute girl throws herself at me like this. Though I did feel bad that the only reason it happened was because another student just happened to tell me her name. It's not like I remembered it because of any previous encounter with her. I would have told her the truth, but she was just so happy that I didn't want to upset her. So I just had to live with the fact that I lied to some girl I'd never met before. Together, and we can eat lunch together and we can study together, and I was so deep in my own thoughts that I hadn't noticed that she was still talking to me. Not only that, but her grip on my body had tightened. It's like she worried that if she let go of me, I was going to vanish into thin air or something. It was a good thing that there was nobody around at that time. If anybody saw a girl hanging off me, the gossip would spread like wildfire. Especially since the girl in question was the quiet recluse that all the guys were gunning for. Just to be safe, I decided to do something about it. I grabbed a hold of Mia's shoulders and pulled her off me. Huh? Well, why? Why did you pull away, Tristan? Why would you do such a thing? Gosh, she's like a baby who just had her favorite toy taken away from them. It made me feel like a real jerk. Although, I wasn't really at fault. This was a normal reaction to being hugged by a stranger. Although to her, she probably thought it was acceptable because we allegedly knew each other. But I needed to tell her that it wasn't polite to jump into people like that. Even if that made me look like a donkey. Come on now, take it easy. It's great that you're happy and all, but it's not nice to go running into people. Rattle. That sounded like a can. As I was talking, I took a step back, and then I felt my foot kick something on the floor. I looked down and noticed that the entire area around us was littered with school supplies, and that's not all. They were all labeled property of Mia. And that's what you saw with the scissors. Is one of those endings where you realize something, and right at the end, they turn it off right there and then. So here it is. Wasn't sure what to make of that. I'd never met anyone who was in the habit of labeling all of their possessions. Though, for all I knew, she was a klutz who would frequently lose their things and started putting labels on them so that they would be returned to her if found. Wait, 1 second. Or maybe she had a compulsive habit of sticking labels on everything she owned. Though, if that were the case, she would have also have labels on her desk and all over her uniform. And I'm pretty sure I would have noticed if she did that. Unless they were on the inside of her clothes. Interesting theory. But once again, I was getting off track. Summary, there was stuff on the floor that wasn't there earlier. My best guess was that when Mia jumped into my arms, she dropped her school bag and spilled all of her things onto the floor. As if there was any other possible reason. Still, it was funny how it took me this long to notice. Seriously, you should pay more attention to what you're doing, or somebody might get hurt. I lectured her as I knelt down to pick up her bag. Tristan is mad at me. Yes, I'm mad. Mia looked away with a dejected expression on her face. ... exclamation mark. Her adorableness was making it very difficult for me to keep a serious face. I'm not mad. I'm just not a big fan of stepping on somebody else's things and breaking them. Crunch. Ah, crap. Speak of the devil. As I was packing the tools back into her bag, I shifted my weight on my left knee and accidentally crushed a calculator that had fallen underneath. Needless to say, it was also labeled property of Mia. Also needless to say, my knee was hurting. And there was a tear in my pants. I guess that's what I get for buying them at a discount clothing store. I picked up the calculator and examined it closely. The screen had been completely shattered. I could see small drops of my blood on the inside circuitry. It had been rendered completely useless. Just lovely. I looked up at Mia, who stared back at me with a look of complete shock on her face. I contemplated scolding her again about the importance self-awareness. But judging by her expression, it looked like she understood what she